Hi, everybody. So today I want to try something a little bit different. I did try this last week, but unfortunately my live stream kind of crapped out after 5 minutes. And I'm not able to live stream, so I'm just going to pre-record. I want to do a little bit of a reaction video. And the reason for that is it is Falloween, and for another couple of days, if any of the Americans out there want to apply for it, there is actually a job promotional thing from Dish Network offering $1,300 to watch 13 Stephen King movies. So I thought I'd just, watch along and give my support because I do love me some Stephen King movies. So today I'm watching Children of the Corn, and I could not find a free streaming. So I am watching it in Spanish. It is Cosecha Maldita Doblado, dubbed in Spanish. And I think that stands for something like dangerous harvest or something very strange. Okay, so so the first scene, we have the children, the titular children, talking about how or they're all kind of rising up, and there's like the creepy music, and the parents don't suspect. And there's that awful rotten little kid. He's great. Well, he's not actually a kid. He was 25 when this was shot, and he was just a wonderful actor. So creepy and so perfect for the role. Whoever cast him was just a gold mine. So now they're all rising up with these harvesty weapons, and that was one thing that was sort of made much of in the story, was that the weapons that they used, they weren't using guns. They were mostly using kind of harvest weapons, sticks and rakes and things like that. So, oh, oh, I forgot how bloody this was. Okay, so now all the parents are dying, and they're all coming out. And so now we've got Bert and Vicky when they're happy, kind of, somewhat. And they're making a plan to go. Now the kid wants to run away. The only reason I know what's going on is I've seen this movie a few times. So I don't speak Spanish well enough to watch it. So okay, let's go back a bit. So one of the reasons I like this story so much is that, sorry, I'm in my car and I just moved, and my camera's a little bit unstable position. I've got the tripod on, but it's on my dashboard. Sorry about that. Okay, so this kid's running through the corn. He wants to escape, and Bert and Vicky are bickering, which is not a very safe thing to do when you're driving. If nothing else, this is an advertisement for safe driving. So one of the reasons that I like the Stephen King collection Night Shift so much is that there's a really good, if you ever want to read a really good book about writing, it's called Write Like the Masters by William Cain. And each chapter takes a look at a different author, and and sort of what makes that author unique, what goes into their story structures, what you can learn from them. And he said that instead of reading King's on writing, if you really want to learn how King operates, just read one of his books and go through. And King creates a call and response system, and they do it in vaudeville as well. You introduce an idea, and then periodically you just refer back to it, but each time you're raising the stakes, so the tension goes up and up and up until you get the payoff. And this is a technique used in comedy as well. You know those improv guys and the vaudeville, and so they'll introduce a joke, and then they'll tell it again and again, but each time it gets funnier, right? Because you're recognizing it and you're using this call and response system. And that's one of the things that King does very, very well. And excuse me. I think that horror, I've always said this, horror works best in the short story format, because horror is it's one of the few genres that are based on an emotion rather than, you know, other things, a series of tropes or what have you. I mean, obviously there are horror tropes, but horror is really the only one that is based on an emotion. I mean, even erotica has certain things that it has to have to be an erotica story, right? So, um, so all of King's early short stories, they have a certain similarity to them, but they're great lessons in how to create that tension and how to, I mean, you have an establishing character moment immediately within a sentence or two. You've got a problem, and then you just keep creating this tension on how to solve it and how to get the characters into and out of this conundrum that they're in. And that's one of the reasons that I love King's short stories more than anything else, I think, that he writes. They're just so much, especially those early stories. Now, Children of the Corn, I don't have the information in front of me. If I find it, I'll tell you. But it was originally one of his short stories published in a men's magazine, and that he wrote while he was living in the trailer in Hermon, Maine, which is infamous now. And he was working in that was that time period when he was working as a teacher and in an industrial laundry, and he just wrote a little bit of time every day, and the payment for the stories always came in when they needed money. So, and I think I'm kind of doing this because I'm really in a bind right now. I really want to. I need to get new wheels, unfortunately, and I'm just running into walls everywhere. So King kind of hit right. Carrie took off right when he really, really needed something, and they bought a new car with it. So I'm a little bit envious of that sort of thing was possible back then. I keep buying lottery tickets, but it never works. Oh, here's that other creepy guy, Malachi or whatever his name was, the redhead. So I guess, yeah, so Children of the Corn. So one of the other great openings is that they're driving through Nebraska, and Bert says, "Where are we?" Or no, Vicky says, "Where are we?" And then Bert says, "Nebraska." And Vicky's like, "I know we're in Nebraska, but where are we?" And that was just such a great ear for dialogue. That's how people talk to each other and how people start bickering in the car, because there's a miscommunication. One person doesn't understand the other person gets mad at not being understood. Oh, it happens all the time. So Vicky falls asleep in the car while Bert goes to investigate, and oh no, Vicky, don't get out. You're stupid. Don't do that. The other reason I like this movie is it's a pre-Terminator Linda Hamilton role. So it's nice to see her as in her softer roles. She made, actually, she was very soft and girly in that Beauty and the Beast series too. So it was only later when she went crazy. Okay, so, oh yeah, I almost forgot that this was in Spanish. All right, now they're driving on with the body in the back, and Vicky's going through the suitcase, trying to figure out what's going on with this kid. That's another thing in the 80s. They really did take a while to kind of build up the tension. And now they're listening to the Holy Roller on the radio. And this was set in Nebraska, in the fictional, and now Gatlin, Nebraska is fictional, and then there's also a town called Hemingford Home that Stephen King created and mentioned a few times. It was mentioned in The Stand. It was mentioned in It. That's where Ben Hanscom lived in the book. So now they're driving and driving. So I'm just going to fast forward here. Okay, and this guy is the only adult anywhere. Like, why wasn't he killed? I mean, did they still need somebody to work in the gas station, or is it because he doesn't live in Gatlin? Or I don't know about this guy, but he's got one hand. Oh, and now they're pulling up to the church and they're seeing this is just, the creepiest little town ever. Um, Children of the Corn is, well, so much of the King's oeuvre is built on the, strangers in a creepy little town. They got a hell of a band is another one. Crouch End, I think, was another one. They've got a few. Oh, that one with the frogs, Rainy Season. um, okay, so now they're just going through and exploring and seeing that, prices haven't changed in a while and there's definitely something weird going on here. Oh, there's blood everywhere. Yeah, you would think that that would make them want to run fast, run far. Oh, they found a little girl. Now, this wasn't in the book at all. The little girl and the little boy that are hiding from their friends. Sarah. Oh, and now all the kids are coming up, converging on them. Now, in the book, this was different. In the book, Vicky stayed in the car while Bert went to explore, but... Oh, yeah, this guy was later in that awful 30-something show in the 80s. That was such a terrible show. Well, I guess it wasn't that terrible. I mean, it was very popular. And I said to my mother, like, these are really boring people. And she said, well, I guess you have to be 30-something to understand it. And I'm like, you're not like these people. They're yuppies. What are you even talking about? So, yeah, I didn't like that show. Okay, so now they're fighting. There's dissension in the ranks. Okay, let's see what else is going on. Now, I don't know if any of you saw that 2000, I think it was like 2009, there was a remake. And it was the remake was unnecessary, I think. Oh, and they're doing this weird ritual where they're drinking blood. Spill the blood for him. Oh. Bert's in the church. He's trying to figure out what these awful children are doing. There's blood everywhere. Oh, it's his birthday. I just did the word cumpleaños. Okay, so we'll just fast forward that. Okay, now they're out in the corn. More dissension in the ranks. Everybody's fighting. So I was talking about the remake. The remake was very strange. It stayed fairly faithful to both the original film and the book, but then there was this insanely gratuitous sex scene right in the middle of it, and it's like, these are supposed to be Children of the Corn. Why are we doing this? So I just thought that was just really incongruous and gratuitous. Okay, so now these kids are helping him. There were no kids to help him. He just ran and was glad he gave up smoking. Oh, they've got her. Uh-oh, stranger. Oh, they've got you. Okay, so he's telling them to wait. Listen. Sorry, it's in Spanish, right? You can't hear what's going on because for copyright reasons, I'm not running it through. But it is in Spanish. All right. Oh, and I keep creepily giggling, not just because it's getting to be Halloween, but also because when I came home tonight, my neighbors were talking to the cops, and every so often I just sort of creepily giggle so that hopefully she'll hear me and it'll mess with her a little bit. Okay, so he is just attacked. Oh, and they're all standing around looking stunned. Okay, that girl has got to be... She looks 40. What are they doing? Oh no. Sorry. Oh, he just threw down the knife. He doesn't want to kill that guy. Oh. Oh, dead Isaac. Well, is he dead or is he not? I don't know. He was attacked, and now he's been possessed by he who walks behind the rose. Now, none of this was in the book at all. In the book, they chased Bert through the corn until he got to a clearing, and then in the clearing, he ran across. There was the body of a cop and a preacher that had been there for a while. Okay, so now Isaac is possessed and everybody's running around. Oh, and there's some really cheesy special effects. Oh boy, this looks like 1984 by way of 1960. And now the kids are hiding because he who walks behind the rose is angry, and they're all running around. Oh, Vicky's okay, and Bert's okay. Now, see, in the book, this is a very different ending. In the book, they were caught, and then they were, they were crucified on these crude things made of corn cobs, and they were all stuffed with corn silk, and they were a sacrifice to he who walks behind the rose, so that he who walks behind the rose would continue to give them a good harvest, and keep them safe, and make sure that nobody figured out what they were doing out there, which, is key if you're going to be having a very creepy cult sort of existence out in the corn, right? And another movie that I thought was going to be kind of similar, but ended up not being, was In the Tall Grass, which was co-written with Stephen King. And now, did he write it with Joe or with Owen? I can't remember. Oh, that's terrible. I should probably look that up. I think it was with Joe that he wrote it. Anyway, and the story goes that these two are, traveling, their brother and sister, and she's pregnant, and they go to this place where they're called into the grass, but they have to run through the grass, but they keep losing their way because, there's something in there that's disorienting them. Oh, yeah, I guess he walks behind the rose in this movie is some kind of big blobby thing. I don't get it. And Bert's trying to start this engine, not going well. Oh, is that gas? Is that water? What is that? So they're turning on the sprinklers. Okay, so irrigation somehow does something to this thing? I don't know. I can't figure it out. So it looks like a big blobby brain, and it's got the special effects are so bad in this. Oh, but the sprinklers will take care of it. Anyway, In the Tall Grass, you could probably watch as a companion piece to this one, and may not be the same, but it's running around. It's kind of folk horror. It's kind of people lost in a rural setting because they, went to, they took a wrong turn at the wrong place. Oh, another little kid ran away. Why did he run away? Yeah, you really do kind of lose the context if you're watching it in a language that you don't speak. But then again, you have to find ways to stress out the characters. Oh, I see. He had to get the flare. Okay, so now they got this like tremors things crawling underneath the ground, like the Conqueror worm kind of deal, and this big brain cloud thing. So he throws a flare into the corn, which that's an interesting thing that they picked up, because at the very end, one of the little girls, she has this fantasy of taking a torch in either hand and just walking through the corn and burning it all down. So I guess that they just kind of riffed on that for this movie. And they want to have some kind of big confrontation, and everybody's out in this corn and they're lost. Oh, okay, here he is. And he made it. There's a big reunion and big hug and kiss. See, in the book, that didn't happen because they were pretty much on the verge of divorce. They didn't even like each other at that point, much less, run toward each other with open arms. Oh, big explosion. Yes, movies are best when they end in big exploding things. The fire effects are much better than the terrible animation effects. So now they're running. Oh, and here's something. It just looks so bad. For if you want a better review with some clips, the Nostalgia Critic did a pretty good review of this one a couple years ago, and he points out, it's a pretty good adaptation, and it's not a bad little movie. It really isn't, as much as I make fun of it. Children of the Corn is if you're a horror fan and you enjoy, cheese from the 80s, but it's got its jumps, it's got its gore. It's worth a watch. It's and now they're going back to their car. It's all stuffed full of corn, but they're gonna get away. They're gonna get away, and good for them. And they put in the kid for some kind of, these two little kids, because they want to have some kind of happy ending. But I guess their car doesn't start, so they gotta head out on foot, which isn't gonna be good for them. So that is Children of the Corn. And I'm going to turn that off now because the music's kind of getting to me and being a little bit distracting. I don't know if this is going to be enlightening at all. Let's see if we can find some fun facts about Children of the Corn. See what we can do. I'm just changing screens here on my tablet. And it is... Sorry, trying to type with one finger and hold my phone with the other hand, and it is not very comfortable. There's Children of the Corn. So it was published in 1977 in Penthouse, and later collected in Night Shift about a couple who end up in an abandoned Nebraska town inhabited by murderous children. And then it became a horror feature film franchise. And there actually are more Spanish language Children of the Corn sequels on Tubi. So if you're a Spanish speaker and you want to watch Children of the Corn, it's on there. Okay, so there's the plot. Gatlin, which I mentioned, The Stand and It, and short film and the film series. Oh, there's a whole bunch of them. Okay, well, I have to talk to my sister, so I hope I'm going to wrap this up now. That was Children of the Corn. Hope you're reading lots of great horror. Have a great day.